Continuing with section 2.2, this is the last piece for that section. We have to see how we sketch the graph of a piecewise function. Now, so this is our function given here. You can see it is defined in like 3 pieces. So the one piece is when x is less than -1. The second piece is between -1 to 2. And then third is when x is greater than or equal to 2. So what is happening basically, I go on the left here and I a number line. So you see the number line is been divided into 3 pieces because of these x values on the right here. So the -1 and the other value is 2. So which divides the line into 3 intervals. So what are those intervals? The first one from -1 to negative infinity to -1. And notice here the -1 is not included in there because it's just a strict inequality. So I will put a parenthesis here. Now in this middle interval, in the second interval here on the right, the -1 is included. And so interval goes from -1 to 2. And 2 is not included. So I put a parenthesis. And now the last one, 2 is included in here, the bracket 2, and then it's going to infinity. So the function is defined as 2x in the first case, as -2x plus 1 in the second case, and as x squared in the third region. So now we make table of values, but when we do that, we have to be careful that the values have to be within that interval. So in this first case, the values have to be less than -1. We cannot pick any value greater than -1. So, but what about -1? So we will see in a minute. So x, I can start at -3 or -4 maybe. So I'll get -8. -3 will give me -6. -2 give me -4. And what about -1? Okay, let's actually calculate it, and then we can have our doubts. Because some students think that we should only go up to -2 because -1 is not included in the function. Okay, so but we will discuss it later. Coming to the next function. So we will start with -1 because that is included and that is the smallest value we can take. At -1, the value of the function is -3. At 0, the value will be 1. At 1, the value will be -1. And at 2, again, 2 is not included. But should we, let's just calculate it again when we will come and discuss should we do it or not. So at 2, the value is -3. Last piece. So we have x, y. So for we will start at 2 because we can have only values 2 or more. At 2 the value is 4. 3 the value is 9. At 4 the value is 16, and you can see it's increasing very rapidly. So I am not going to calculate I cannot even plot this number on my scale if you look at what my scale is here. Okay, so now before I start plotting, okay, I had to put question mark here. Okay, so what we do is we check the numbers values of x. So x value and y value. For what? For minimum and for max. So what is the minimum x value? You can see -4. What is the maximum value? Okay, we discarded the 4, this one, so the maximum value we can say is 9. So the maximum value is actually 3. if I keep this value 416, so we can say the value is 4. So negative 4 and 4, the x for the x and for the y. Minimum value is negative 8 and maximum is 16. 16 is too far away, so I probably not won't be graphing that one anyhow. So we come here, so because I want to go from negative 8 up to at least 8 or 9, so I have taken the scale like that, and on the x-axis I'm going at least from negative 4 to 4. I have more values here, which is okay. So now we start our graphing. When you graph the function, so you have to graph each piece just up to where we want. Okay, so if we look at the first piece, so at negative 4 we are at negative 8. I'm going to use the same color for each pieces as I have the tables. So negative 4, negative 8, somewhere here. Is it a hole or a solid dot? It's a solid dot. Okay, at negative 3, the value is negative 6. Well, you can plot that if you want, but I want to go to negative 2, which will give me negative 4. Okay. So if we say that this is all we should have, because the negative 1 is not included, so the line will be something like this. You can take out your ID cards and draw the line so that it's straight to this, and we will not stop it. We will let it go on this side a little bit, because it's not only from starting at negative 4, but its domain is the real numbers, all the real numbers are to the left of negative 1. Okay, so if I do not go further, then I stop here. But then what about the piece between negative 2 and negative 1? So it's necessary to pick the value of negative, or calculate the value at negative 1, although negative 1 is not included in the domain, but we should find the value at negative 1, and then what we should do is circle it. So if the point is not, it's the end point of your interval, but it is not included in the interval, still you evaluate at that point and circle it. So when you bring it to your graph and plot it, you will plot it as a whole. So at negative 1, which will be somewhere here, the value is 2, which will be here, so it will be a circle. So your line is extended like this. So let me make the circle a little bit bigger so that it is clear that it is a circle. So it's a straight line up to this point. Okay, now we go to the second piece, which is the negative 2x plus 1. So we will start with negative 1. The value is 3. This was 3, not negative 3. Okay, so at negative 1, the value is 3, and it is a solid point. At 0, the value is 1. At 1, the value is negative 1, where you can plot, and 2, the negative value is negative 3. And this is a hole. So now somewhere here. Just join these points like that. And now we will not have a tail here, because then it will fail. Then we are saying it is going below -1. See this value, if you see, the x value will be less than -1, which is not allowed. So in this case, we will have to erase this. Well, not the whole line, but like we shouldn't have this piece. Okay, so it should start here and go to the right. Okay, maybe I'll draw the line again. So if you take a ruler and draw it, it's easier. Something like that. Okay. Okay, so now going to the last piece. Be careful, because the last piece is a quadratic. So the quadratic at 4, at 2, the value is 4, and it is a solid dot. And at 3, the value is 9. Now this you will not join the straight line, but you will join it like a curve, a little bit curved, because it's going to be the x square. It has to be a little bit curved. And this is going on and on, because it goes to infinity. So that is it. That's how you draw your function, piecewise functions. Okay, just as not looking curved, maybe I'll redo it. I think 4, it should be coming somewhere here. Okay, I'm drawing it, but I have to erase this, because the function is only from this point here to onwards, something like that. Okay, so this is how we draw our piecewise functions.